Good morning, codgers. Welcome to Grumpas workshop. Sunday waffle. I thought I'd give you an update. I'm Loz as usual, and it's been some time since my last video. You saw in my last video that we'd had a bit of a health crisis and me and Nana Sue needed some time. Well, time has passed. She recovered from that first hospitalisation, and we're starting to get used to the carers coming in, and just as we were getting used to it, back blues and twos again over to Fairfield for another period with yet another infection, and she's back home again. So this isn't going to become a channel about our creaking out health issues, but I just thought I'd explain why. So in the workshop, not a lot's been going on because, to tell you the truth, I just haven't any energy at the moment. Chronic fatigue syndrome, whatever you want to call it. Neither of us have had COVID, but I've had so many infections between us, it's left us at a very low ebb. I have done a bit. I've been doing a lot of spending leading up to the last video and since, emptying the rainy day coffers to finish off what is, I think, all my major purchases for the workshop. And this, as you have seen in the title, this is my 100th posting, Grumpas Workshop number 100. So I thought I'd mention that. I never thought I'd get this far. We're just bubbling under the 890 subscribers, of which I know about 300 and odd of you are actual human beings, and of those 300 and odd, there's 30 odd who regularly comment, and it's your support that I'm really grateful for. So there's that. So what have I done? I'll post a bit over here to show you as I talk you through it. I've got all my bits for my workshop router table. So the router table, all the little sleds to start making box jointed boxes, and what's the other sled that puts the slivers into reinforced miters, whatever. That's all ready. I just need to plumb in the extraction. So that's ready to go. All my smaller benchtop tools, if you remember, I mentioned I was putting them on a trolley. Now, lots of you have suggested doing those revolving top trolleys. So yeah, you can have something like a big sander on top and then flip it over and give your jointer thicknesser. I really don't like those because it means I'm humping everything round with my back. So I've got them jigsawed fitting on the top. I'll show you that. So I've got my belt disc sander on one side, the little mini jointer, and two double grinding wheels on the top, and I've got my Makita thicknesser underneath, and I think there's room to reuse my old Miele house vacuum on the bottom with a tube going up through to do the dust extraction for the machines on top, and that'll be a work in progress. I'm going to get some of those threaded inserts so I can screw them down with turnbuckles rather than have them stopping about. There's that. The bandsaw, I'll give you a quick update. I'm still loving it. I still love the way I can swap out my broad resawing and my thinner bandsaw box type blades on that. That sabre is overkill. When I did my research, I thought, well, people were saying for a good hobbyist, small contracting workshop, 14-inch minimum. So I went for the 14-inch, and because of the supply issues last year with the COVID and etc., the sabre was the one I got. To be honest, guys, I think the regular 14-inch or even a 12-inch would do for most people. It depends on how much you're actually going to resaw. And don't forget, when it says a 10, 12 or 14-inch, it's not the thickness of wood you can drill, it's the throat between the blade and the frame. So you have to work out that sometimes a 10-inch one has got 10-inch there, but it's not got 10-inch there. And don't forget as well, it's the power on the motor, because sometimes if you can open up the blade for 16 inches, the motor hasn't got the power for it. So I reckon at least 2/3 or half of the clearance is probably what the motor can cope with. Does that make sense? When I got it, as I said, I think it's overkill. I've also bought an extension, press steel extension wing for it, and a shorter fence, because the big fence you can't get under the cover that slides up and down. I'll show you that when I do an update. Now, next, going off the advice of many YouTubers, I think Peter in the small shed recommended the Bosch pillar drill, and I swapped that out and I'm loving that. Again, I'll do an in-use review in a couple of weeks or months and go through all the details on that. Just cover up that other thing. One of the other things from Grumpy's workshop I've acquired that you haven't seen, I don't think, is the Hikoki 8.5-inch sliding compound miter saw, which again I've just started using. I got that one because the slide mechanism means it doesn't use a lot of space behind, and I can just about fit it in on my workbench. So I shall be working out with another bit on this side to hold long lengths of timber, rather than have a full, convert that to a full dedicated station. One of the other things that I picked up from in the workshop, thanks Guy, was it's over this, I'll show you that picture, the Draper variable speed mini lathe, just to get us started playing. And from the advice that followed talking about that, I picked up a set of Draper lathe gauges, considering that that's quite a cheap mini lathe, but obviously good quality, no bad quality comes in here. I was concerned about spending twice as much on a set of beginner's gauges than I was on the lathe. Use your words, Grumpa, lathe. So I got the Draper, which luckily enough, and you have to watch out for this, it includes a ball gauge, a roughing gauge, a skew, round nose scraper, party tool and spindle gauge. A lot of the beginners sets, when you get them, are actually miniature sets, which probably wouldn't be too bad on the little mini lathe, but I wanted a medium set. And because a lot of the beginner sets only include a spindle gauge, lots of you that do lathes know what's coming. The beginner sets includes a spindle gauge, which is pretty dangerous if you're trying to do the ends of creating a small bowl. So you need a bowl gauge as well as a spindle gauge. Don't use a spindle gauge apparently. Anyway, I've got this. I'm looking forward to the testing that. The other thing is, of course, proper safety face mask, because wearing a set of goggles and a respirator isn't enough if something big and chunky comes spinning off a lathe. So I've got a full face covering on that. That's good. I've also started, and this is partly the reason why I've not done a lot. I've started making a stand for the lathe rather than shifting it about all the time or having it on that back bench, because I've got too much on the back bench. So I'm making a stand to go under the window, and that will be freestanding and the router table will move down. Big news is My Rage 5 table saw, I'm afraid, has been retired. Shock horror, don't worry. It's gone the same place my original benchtop drill and my original Aldi toy bandsaw has gone. It's gone to a neighbour a few doors down who's a brickie with a small building firm, and it's in his garage because during the summer last year I saw he had his doors open on his double garage. He's creating a little workshop in there. So all my beginners tools have gradually worked their way into his garage. It's nice to see stuff rather than end up on the tip or putting it out for the rag and bone man. It's gone to use there. So what forgot? I was dithering. I've gone for the Axminster Craft table saw, which you'll see here. I've gone for the 10-incher, like I went for the overkill on the bandsaw. I fell out with Axminster, those of you who have been watching for some time, because last summer, when everything was in short supply, they hiked the prices of their bandsaws and table saws by a couple of £100, which I saw as practice I don't approve of, exploiting supply and demand. Anyway, the prices have come down, and for what it is, I love it. I've got it on a medium duty trolley so I can move it around, and I've got the left side extension table on it, so I've got the same width as my Rage and a bit more depth, and you'll see that over the coming months. Very pleased with it. Not used it a lot, just a little bit to try out the mitre gauge that came with the bandsaw. Now it's got proper mitre slots, so I've got big ideas for that, and I love the induction motor. Because you press the button, it just goes woo, whereas the Axminster was going thud. Rage 5 owners will know what I mean. So yeah, it's a soft start instead of a hard start, which soothes my frayed nerves. And that's it. So, episode 100, I'm not going to do a lot. The plans have been ameliorated again. As you know, I wanted to be further ahead on this journey than I have been. I've been doing this 11 months. 11 months. I thought it'd take 12 months to get going. I thought I'd have the other half of the garage dry lined and roof insulation in, but that's still to come, and the floor still to come. And I've still got to replace the wall storage for timber. I'm replacing that with these. They're on Amazon all over the place, cheap. So they're going up, and I won't be doing a very regular update until me 101st. I'm hoping to do my 101st post video with a completed workshop tour. So it'll be a workshop tour on the 12-month anniversary, and then thereafter, going into August, September, October, I'm going to start working my way around the machines, a couple of weeks at a time, building up the skills on them, and doing videos as that. So that's the plan. Small things like cutting boards, small boxes, wooden spatulas for the kitchen on the bandsaw boxes, all the good stuff. Don't forget, all the gear, no idea, and you can watch me learn. So that's it. I hope you're doing well, guys. Like, subscribe, stick a post in how you're doing over there. So I have been, even though I've not been on posting, I've been watching all the usual suspects videos and liking and posting comments. You do the same. I hope the rest of the summer goes well for you. I'm hoping to get a bit more energy, and over the next couple of weeks, in time for the workshop tour, I'm going to sort out my work path around the workshop, how the machines work together. That's it. So, thanks for watching. I'm off on my cup of tea. Crack on. Catch you again, guys. See you soon.